She offered him $50,000 to be her husband. He was a broke single dad. The night she extended the money, it felt less like an offer and more like a lifeline thrown across a widening gap. He stood there with exhaustion carved into his face, the weight of overdue bills pressing on his chest, and the quiet fear that tomorrow might finally break him. She was polished, confident, carrying a calm that didn't belong to his world of second-hand furniture and sleepless nights. $50,000 hovered between them like a question about dignity, survival, and the strange ways hope sometimes arrives when pride is already worn thin. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when strangers choose compassion, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness. Your support keeps stories like this alive. He had not always been this close to the edge. Once, he had a steady job and a plan that stretched farther than the end of the month. Then life shifted the ground beneath him in ways he never saw coming. Loss came suddenly, leaving him alone with a small child whose eyes searched his face every morning for reassurance he wasn't sure he could provide. He became a single dad overnight, learning to braid routines out of chaos, learning to smile while counting coins at the grocery store. Nights were the hardest. When the city outside slept, he lay awake calculating how long he could keep the lights on, how to stretch rice and beans into another dinner, how to protect a child from a truth too heavy for such small shoulders. She came from a world that looked nothing like his. Glass walls, clean lines, and rooms that echoed with success framed her days. Yet beneath the polish was a pressure that had followed her for years, the kind that comes from expectations that don't care about feelings. Family obligations, public scrutiny, and a future that had been planned without asking her permission had cornered her into a decision that felt impossible. She needed stability on paper, a partnership that could silence questions and buy her time. What she offered him was transactional, precise, and undeniably life-changing. The proposal did not arrive wrapped in romance. It arrived with numbers and timelines, with rules meant to protect both of them. For him, it sounded like a betrayal of the values he tried to teach his child. Love was not supposed to be rented. Marriage was not meant to be a contract signed out of desperation. Yet hunger has a way of reframing morality. When your child's shoes are worn thin and the landlord's patience is gone, ideals can feel like luxuries. He wrestled with the offer as if it were a storm inside his chest, torn between the man he wanted to be and the father he needed to be. What finally tipped the scale was not the money itself, but the image of his child sleeping peacefully, unaware of the eviction notice folded inside his jacket. He accepted with a heaviness that felt like surrender and a flicker of hope he was afraid to trust. The first days were awkward, a careful dance of boundaries and silences. They shared space without sharing souls, two strangers trying to coexist under a promise neither had imagined making. He moved through her immaculate home like a guest afraid to leave fingerprints. She watched him with curiosity, noticing the gentleness in the way he folded laundry, the patience in the way he prepared meals, the quiet devotion that radiated whenever his child laughed. Slowly the edges softened. Mornings grew less formal. Evenings stretched longer. Without trying, they began to see each other beyond the agreement. She saw a man who had been reshaped by responsibility, whose strength came not from ambition but from endurance. He saw a woman who carried loneliness behind her confidence, whose independence had been earned through years of proving she didn't need anyone, even when she wanted to. Their lives began to intersect in small, human ways. Shared meals turned into shared routines. Laughter slipped in where silence used to sit. The challenges did not vanish. He struggled with guilt, wondering what lesson he was teaching by accepting help tied to a promise. She struggled with fear, knowing that if the truth surfaced, everything could collapse. The world outside remained unforgiving. Rumors circled, expectations tightened. At times, the pressure threatened to tear the fragile balance apart. Yet in the middle of uncertainty, something unexpected took root. Respect grew, trust followed. not the kind that announces itself loudly, but the kind that shows up in consistency, in being there on ordinary days. There was a moment, quiet and unremarkable to anyone else, when everything shifted. He watched her kneel to help his child with homework, patience in her eyes, warmth in her voice. It wasn't part of the deal. It wasn't required. It was care freely given. In that instant, the arrangement stopped feeling like a compromise and started feeling like a beginning. For her, the change came when she realized she felt safest in the presence of a man who had nothing to prove. His honesty, his humility, and his unwavering love for his child revealed a strength she had been searching for all along. As time passed, the money lost its power over the story. Bills were paid, stability returned, and the constant fear loosened its grip. What remained was connection. They faced difficult conversations and uncomfortable truths, choosing transparency over convenience. The agreement that once defined them faded into the background, replaced by something earned through shared effort and mutual care. They learned that love does not always arrive wrapped in perfection. Sometimes it grows from necessity, watered by kindness, and strengthened by the courage to stay. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to comment and share what it made you feel. Your words matter, and they help this message reach others who might need it. Near the end of their journey, he stood no longer as a broken man grasping at survival, but as a father who had reclaimed his footing and a partner who understood his worth. She stood free from the weight of expectations, having discovered that real security is built with someone who sees you, not someone who completes a checklist. Their lives did not become perfect, but they became honest, and in that honesty they found peace. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness can change destinies and that second chances can come from the most unexpected places, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your engagement keeps these stories alive and spreading hope. Just before you go, leave a comment below telling us whether you believe love can grow from compassion. Sometimes, a single act of kindness is all it takes to rewrite a life.